Okay, I think you can kind of see. So, welcome. My name is Mackenzie. I'm Ken and Lane's daughter. I'm the youngest of four, looking to take over the business here in a couple of years. So, this is where I'm learning a lot and I know a lot. So, that's why I'm here. So today we're going to do fall to-do list, things to get ready for your yard. And this time of year, there's a lot that people think we can't do that we can absolutely do in terms of planting, getting things ready, doing veggies even, stuff like that. So if you have any questions throughout, just let me know. Online class, I apologize if I missed your questions. Just me today, so bear with me. I will try and read your comments at the end there. So to start, we'll just do this. If anyone composts or does anything like that this time of year, it's a great time to start because the leaves are going to start falling here soon, next couple weeks. If you've got the veggies you're pulling out, or if you're pulling out your summer veggies or your summer flowers, if you like to compost for your vegetable beds for next year, now's the time to do that. Do not do pine needles and do not do twigs. They will not break down. I know you see them all over the forest. They just create layers. So just do it off to your yard where it's sunny, moist. Just start chucking things in there. So just want to put that, now's the time to start that. I know a lot of people do that here. So the second thing to do your composting or to get ready for your beds, whether you're going to cover your peonies or you want to cover some roses or do a layer around them, now is the time to kind of start thinking about that with your mulch. I know a lot of people like to do straw and stuff. That's later down the line. But we've had a couple people ask about their peonies and stuff getting ready for the winter. You don't necessarily need to do that here. We do not get that cold. We maybe get cold nights, but we get really warm days. So I know people from the Midwest, you're all like, let's hunker down, let's do this. You got tons of time. But if you are really worried about that and you're just concerned if we have a cold winter, just throw down a light layer of mulch. You do not want to go thick. You'll burn out your peonies, you'll burn out your roots. Just go real light layer, holds moisture in, keeps the heat in. Best stuff is the premium mulch. You don't need to do manure or anything like that unless you have vegetable beds, but you're still planted in them right now. So just do your mulch. This also goes, if you guys are still planting right now, now is still a great time to plant. You have tons of season left. Trees, mostly evergreens. Definitely can do trees, deciduous trees if you want, but now's the time to plant evergreens. I'll tell you why. Story time. No. So evergreens mostly want to grow in the springtime. They're growing March, maybe April, and then they're done for the year. They don't want to grow anymore. They kind of just sit there. So you want to get them in now so you get them rooted out before winter hits and they'll grow next year. If you plant them in the spring, they'll just send out roots. They will not grow on their actual limbs. You might get a little bit, but you won't get as much as you can. So they want to root out first, then grow up. So plant them now. We're still warm enough. The ground is a great time to plant. It's cool, not super hot. You don't have to water as much, so you can plant now. And that's anything. You have until beginning of November, maybe even Thanksgiving, depending on when we get cold. Seems like we'll be pretty warm here for a while. Who knows? But you have tons of time. And you want to do that, these guys, with the mulch. So part mulch to what 2 parts native soil, plant it in the ground, do a bit of a mound, and you'll be great for next spring. So it's just a really good time. Most people think they can't or they're running out of season. Tons of time. Just do it now. Don't wait till next year. You'll just miss a season of growing that you would otherwise have. So that's really important right now. The other thing that you want to think about doing is getting your ground ready for spring. That's existing plants or even new plants. So that involves, and this goes for lawns as well. If you want to get your lawns back and perked, I think a lot of them kind of had to struggle with that heat that we had a while ago, and things just start not recovering like they should. We had a really great start of spring into June, and then we got really hot and things just stopped growing, faded out. A lot of people's stuff died. So you want to recover now so they'll come back better for you in the spring. Okay? So these are the 2 products. This feeds your ground. This feeds your plant. This is humic, soil activator, if you guys also know that. And then this is our 744 all-purpose. You've seen this multiple times everywhere. These two products will feed everything that you need to feed for this winter. So what happens is if we do get a lot of snow, you're just going to run your nutrients out. If there's no nutrients already there, the winter will just let that go. So you want to keep feeding your soil so it keeps coming back, keeping alive, so your plants can take that in the springtime and then really show off. So this is especially great for lawns. Like if you're thinking about this or this for lawns, do this. This is a lot better because your lawns have those shallow roots. This will feed that ground, which they can take up those nutrients and grow better for you. So, but I suggest both. It's the best time to do both. This you do 3 times a year. Halloween's a good one, but if you haven't done it, do it now. Then you've got New Year's, about Easter, and 4th of July. That's this guy. This one you'll need to do once a year. Now's a great time to do it. You do not need to keep doing it all the time, but you can't overuse it. It's not going to burn anything. So you can continually do it if you would like throughout the year. So, and this won't burn either. This is organic. If you do too much of it, it's not going to burn. So don't worry about that. If you have a 10-10-10, you follow the instructions because that will burn if you're not careful. So, but these will not burn. It's a great time to fertilize.
Is that one only for grass?
No, it's for everything. Yeah, so if our soil here, it's clay or rock. There's no nutrients in it. You have to continually feed nutrients into it. This is what will do that. It creates mycorrhizal colonies in your ground. The earthworms love it. So it just really makes your soil come alive. Yeah. The other thing that you should think about, I'll get that in a sec. So if you know these blue guys, anything blue tinged, let me get this for the camera. So if you have any spruces or anything that's blue, oh, sorry. No, I'm hiding in the trees, the jungle. So if you have anything blue, you'll notice in the winter, they tend to want to go to green a little bit. They want to fade back into that green color. They will go blue again, but if you want to just try and keep that color and not have to waste your time trying to get it back and everything, you want to use soil sulfur or superphosphate. I would maybe, if you have trees you're doing, superphosphate. If you got other things that you want to feed in your yard besides your trees, you can do the soil sulfur and it will do it all. But either one will keep your trees going blue. They create that kind of gray color on them. Do it now. You don't want to wait till spring to do it. Summer, it doesn't matter. Do it now. So in the springtime, it can take it up and be blue again for you. So now's the best time to do that, now until November. Aluminum sulfate, you could do that as well. That's not a problem. Either one of them. I think I just forgot it. But aluminum sulfate is really great for the blue guys. Yeah. So any of these products, do it now. The other thing, since I'm up here, I'll talk about it. So these trees, a lot of people had to struggle with the spruces this year. We had that heat spike in July really fast, and it kind of just burned things out. Normally it shouldn't do that. We wouldn't have that problem, but be careful of that. And like if you're in a really hot area like Chino, Dewey, PV, they can thrive there and be fine. They'll just need a little bit more water, and it really depends on your area. But I brought this guy up because the cedars, they can re-needle themselves. So if this loses 50% of its needles, probably is not going to come back. It's not going to re-needle. It's going to die. This guy, if it loses its needles, it will re-needle itself and come back. So it's just a really solid tree. Deodar cedar, got yellow and green. This is a little more blue tinge, which is cool. But they're just solid trees for here. Drought tolerant. No bugs really go after them. Maybe some aphids, but that's anything. So they're just really great trees for here. But any cedar will re-needle itself. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, show you the difference in case people struggled. They don't want to do another spruce. What do I do? Just do a cedar. Deodar cedar. Deodar. So D-E-O-D-A-R. I think it gets like 30 by 20. It's a bigger tree for a yard, but I got other smaller ones. Carl Fuchs is a smaller one, more decorative. It kind of weeps and stuff. That's over there. So there's others. This guy. So this is a Vanderwolf. Brought this one to show you. So these guys do get those pines and stuff. I didn't really know that until this year, so that's fun. So I just thought he was cool. I'd bring it up. So they're not aggressive pine throwers. You're not going to be picking up tons of things each year like the pinions or things like that. But they have a really soft look. So this is the Vanderwolf. I mean, you can just touch it, hug it, and it won't hurt you. They'll be fine. The thing with these guys is they like a lot of water up front. They love to thrive on water. Not drowned, but constantly moist. Till they're established, and then you can kind of back off a little bit and go from there. But they're kind of a mid-sized tree, so maybe 20 by 15. They're not super big, so great for small yards. And they're just really pretty. You know, they got that green and gray tone to them, the two-tone, because you don't see in very many things. So I just thought he was fun to bring up, and this is a good size one to start and stuff. We do get biggers, but this has been the nicest one that we've had all season. So the pines are probably one of your fastest growing plants. They probably get a foot if they're happy, 6 to 7 inches usually, depends on the growing season, if it's warm or cold. The cedar, you probably get about 6 to 8 inches in a year. It does grow pretty fast for a cedar. And the spruces, I mean, this was their whole new growth this year, these ends, so they grow 6 to 8 inches. The fastest growing evergreen, if you want to know, is the Austrian pine. About a foot, maybe 1.5 feet a year. It's one of your fastest growing ones, if it's happy. I gotta say that, because sometimes in certain conditions it will not grow as fast. But that is one of your fastest pines. From there, it's probably your spruces, and then your junipers, stuff like that. So this guy, get this out of here. It's in my face. Oh, this is the baby blue spruce, by the way. I didn't say that. Baby blue, so that's your smaller spruce. So your fat Alberts get like 40 by 30. They're huge. These guys stay more like 10 feet by 10 feet. So they're a little tiny Christmas tree. If you have a tiny yard and you want blue, go for the baby blues. They're great. So this is the Wichita juniper. I know people are like, don't want juniper, get it out of here. I would rather rip it out than plant it. But they are solid plants for here because they thrive on our environment. They're all over. We got the forest of them, so you're not getting away from it, no matter how hard you try. So you might as well plant something pretty. We only get the female ones in. The female ones do not do the pollen. You might occasionally get one, but we always grow them females, so you will not get that pollen on them. This, they, yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah, that orange cloud of just going sweeping across you. Yes.
Besides not sneezing, how do you tell a male from a female?
The females do the balls, the little pollen things. I mean, you can't really tell in these guys. They don't throw that. But yeah, the berries, if you know the cypress, berry ones are females. The pollen ones are the males. They want to show off, send out everything, get everywhere. So that's that. So as I said, you can't get away from it. Everyone's like, it just sweeps across town. So you might as well get something pretty. It's smoke. Yeah. Yeah, we have a big one in our backyard, and it sucks. Huh? Spring. Spring, yeah, spring's the most, the bigger time for it. Yeah, so there's a lot to be allergic to here, ragweed, everything. So just take your allergy pills. It'll kind of work. So I brought this guy because he's great for yards or borders or anything like that. This is the Wichita. It gets like 10 feet tall, but only like 3 to 4 feet wide. So it stays a little narrow. So it's great, if you want to line something, or if you're in PD, you have those small yards. This is great for that. Great for erosion control. The roots are not invasive on any of these plants. You don't have to worry about that. And very little water. Nothing eats it. Nothing touches it. Nothing goes after these guys. So they're just, if you don't want to worry about any of that, just chuck a juniper in there. So they just do great. They get like 10 by 3. So real narrow. And that's the Spartan juniper too. That's the green version of that. Same thing. Tall and narrow. This one's my favorite tree just because I like the look of them. Yeah, this is the Oregon green pine. Does those candles. That's what it does. And it's already getting ready for next year with what it's growing here. But I like it because it's thick. You can still kind of see through it, but it's thick. It gives you a different look than the spruces and the cedars and stuff. So it's just really nice, vibrant green. I know a lot of people have green, but this is just a deep, rich one. I think this guy he's a little bit smaller, I'd say 20 by 20, smaller side. Grows fairly fast. It will kind of get, a new candle each year. That's its growth. But really hardy, nothing touches it, nothing eats it. Again, drought tolerant. So they're just solid trees. I know the bark beetle and the scale and stuff everyone's worried about. Never really seen it on these trees. They're mostly on the pinions and the ponderosas and things like that. So I can tell you how to treat that later if you guys want, because I know people are worried about that this year as well. So there's that.
We lost,
Yeah.
lost 2 of those giant ones in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They just got brown overnight.
So so that's a perfect segue into what I was going to talk about. So you guys check for grubs this year. So I've had a lot of people lose huge spruces, huge Austrians, grown ones, and they die almost instantly. Check for grubs. And you don't want to check the first 6 inches. You want to really try and check near the root ball down at the base, because that's where they're eating the roots off your tree. So if you have something going downhill fast, check for grubs. We had a wet winter, cool spring. They kind of just came out in full force this year. The thing you can do is grub control. If you find them, do grub control. You throw it on the top, water it in, and it kills them out.
What about that? Your dad talked about drench.
Yep, tree and shrub.
We bought that right away and
Okay,
put it on everybody.
perfect.
And it still does.
Yeah, so
But
So-
you said it goes up a foot.
yeah, a day.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so tree and shrub drench, that's the product I would use on any evergreens. It does help in the ground. It's mostly for going up through your tree and killing scale, aphids, bark beetle things, those, borers, anything like that. That's mostly what it treats. He probably thought you had something going on in your tree, and it helps with grubs, but it may not be fast enough, because they said grubs will kill it almost instantly.
so there's something different for grubs.
Yeah, it's a granular. It's called Grub Control. It's this color bag. That's what it's going to be in down there. So that's the best thing for grubs. But I would rip those trees out and see what's going on in there. I would also check if you have a tree that died and you rip it out. I always suggest taking a 5-gallon bucket of water, pouring it in there, and seeing how fast it drains. Because you want it to drain within an hour or 2, hopefully. If it sits there, anything you put there is going to die. It's just going to drown out. So just check for that. It does also happen over time, because our soil here just compacts down. Even though you may have planted it right, mulch, twice as wide, our soil compacts down. So just check for that if you notice trees are going wrong or something's happening. Yeah. Okay, so that's those guys. I'll talk a little bit about the fall plants. So I know this doesn't look the prettiest, but this is a Virginia creeper. They're all, Yavapai College has a wall of them already going red. So it's gorgeous. They're very native here. We have a native one, and then this one. This is still great here. Gets the blueberries, red color. It does lose its leaves, but that won't be for a while. You keep your color for a bit. You just chuck it in. You don't have to worry about it. You might have to train it up the wall a little bit, but they'll kind of root out as they go up things. They'll send out shooters. You don't necessarily have to train a whole lot. Or you can go it across the ground. Doesn't matter. If you want to take up a space and have erosion control, let it send out over the ground and it will be great. Nothing really eats it. Nothing touches it. Deer might nibble and try it, but it's not their favorite. They're not going to want to eat it. So this is just really great solid winter color plant. Water, it's actually pretty moderate, if not drought tolerant. I would say once a week, pretty good watering would be all it needs. Virginia creeper. Yeah, we got several. There's one that's a 2-tone variety as well. It's like a light green with the dark green edges. It's pretty cool. It's called Star Showers. I don't think I have it at the moment, but I might. So this is just a really solid one. I always like, in my yard, I don't just want pretty things. I want things year-round. I want color year-round. So that gets me my fall color. These get me my winter color, because if you just plant deciduous trees and flowers, you have nothing in the fall, and you're just sitting there with a naked yard with rock. That's not fun. You don't want that, especially Christmas or Thanksgiving when you got family there. So plant 20% of each kind of thing in your yard, 20% evergreen, 20% deciduous, 20 flowers, and you'll just have a better time and a better yard for yourself. So just think about that as you plant. This guy's burning bush. It's just starting to turn its color. It does more red when it gets a lot more shorter days. So this is just starting to turn color, but the whole thing is red. It's real beautiful. The class can see that. So it's drought tolerant. Nothing really touches it, maybe some aphids, but they touch anything that's soft leafed. And then deer might try it, but it's not their favorite. They're not going to want to eat it. Same with rabbits or javelina. Just the fall. Yeah, it loses its leaves. It is deciduous, but you get that bright red color. Same with this guy. So this guy is evergreen, Nandina heavenly bamboo. I brought this one because it's getting its fall color. It gets really dark in the fall. Its top's a new growth, whereas in the springtime, it's mostly just green and a very light red. So I like them because they just kind of give you a darker look. Nandina or heavenly bamboo. It is not as aggressive as bamboo. It's not going to shoot up all over your yard. It just stays as it is. So drought tolerant, more moderate watering, probably once a week, a good heavy water, it's all it needs. And then just let it do its thing. This guy gets 4 by 3, kind of more of a bigger shrub, but there are smaller ones out there. So I kind of brought him as an evergreen. The other thing is the fall flowers. So, I don't know if you've been Westerners, if there's anyone here. You guys are used to planting and then things dying out by December, maybe even November. So here, you can have color year round. The pansies and the snapdragons, violas, they will go through our winter. We may have cold nights, but our days are so warm that they perk right back up. So you'll get these to go January, February. They go a long time. So don't think you're going to plant them and then lose out instantly. They will go for a while. So rip out your fall, your summer annuals. You do not need them anymore. They're probably getting a little leggy and stuff. Put some nice new things in there. You know, they'll be great for you. That's violas here. I got alyssum here. I'll come back. Alyssum, that's a great trailer, a little pot thing. So they're just solid. The other one is a snapdragon. They're biannuals. They'll come back 3 to 4 years or so, and then they'll eventually die out, but they do like to reseed around the yard. Not invasively, but they'll reseed and do lovely for you. So they'll go through the winter, no problem, even the summer in the shade. They're kind of a year-round plant. You just got to kind of keep track of them, cut them, and they'll keep coming back for you. So I just brought them because they're not a perennial, but they're biannual. These guys are perennials. This is phlox and mums. Who doesn't know a mum? This you will get springtime bloom and a fall bloom. You get 2. This guy's just a fall bloomer. So, do some summer perennials, spring perennials, and fall perennials. Don't just do one because you like it. Just do these. And then these, javelina deer don't want to touch. They might try it because, the buds and stuff, but we plant them over there. You get herds come through and they don't touch it. So they're pretty drought tolerant in a sense of you're probably watering 2 times a week, depending if it's a ground or a pot. We can get into that. This guy, nothing touches, no animals, pretty drought tolerant once it's established. So just a solid plant. They're just really great for around here. Huh? A phlox, Phlox. Yeah. So I'll get into this, because now's the time to do it. And then I'll go back to my other stuff. Okay, so this is weed and grass stopper. Now is the time to throw this down for weeds. It's not going to kill what's already grown, but it's going to stop them from regerminating. So coming up every year, and it's going to lessen the amount you have to do. If you notice in your yards, there's certain areas where weeds come up a lot thicker than others. Do it there. You don't have to do your whole yard if you don't want. You don't have to keep buying tons of it. Just do the sections that you do not want to have to weed again over the course of the years. So I do spray killer first, and then I throw this down. So any seeds that dropped or anything like that when I sprayed, it just takes care of it. So you do this now, and you do this in the spring if you want to really get it under control. You do it when they first come out, kind of when they're getting ready to seed in the spring, and you do it now. So just, you throw it down, water it in lightly, or wait for the snow or something. Rain, I don't think we're getting any more rain, I hope, I wish. So just hand water it in lightly. You do not need to just soak it, just get it in there. And it does, yeah, so see, testimony. And it even does, even if you've got like weed fabric and rock, and you still get weeds come through there, it will get to that layer that needs to stop the weeds from reseeding. It won't go through the fabric, but it gets that, between those two layers, it will get them. That will be fine. It doesn't hurt the plants themselves, it just does the reseeding. So unless you want something to reseed in the area, then don't throw this down, but otherwise it'll be fine. Yep, it'll be fine. Yeah, no problem. Nope, you're good, but that's partially why you also want to water it in a little bit, just to get it in there, but it's not going to hurt anything. Yeah. So weed and grass stopper. The other thing to start thinking about is just buying some frost-proof frost cloth. This guy's like a 12 by 10, cut it what you need. It's this white fabric-y stuff. If you came from California or anything, you brought your plants with you and they've been living outside, bring those in for sure. But if you can't and you want to try and save them, you want to do frost cloth. Or if you planted certain cactuses out in the yard, not a lot of cactus grow here. They just don't like our winters. They don't want to do it. But if you've already done that and you want to try and save them, this is besides a prickly pear. Prickly pear is fine. It grows wherever. But if you've got barrel cactus or fish hooks or something like that, this just helps really protect them. You can also throw a bucket on them if you want. Not a problem. But start thinking about getting this now so you're not trying to get it when our first frost comes. You want to do it now so you have it. It just protects, if you want like your flowers staying to look nice for a little bit longer, cover them for when we get cold and then take it off during the day and they'll just last a little bit longer for you. So just a really great product. Huh? Herbs, keeps them going, just keeps things looking nice if you want to continue to use them. Yeah, so just thought I'd bring that up. Other thing is, and this is mostly for my houseplant people or people bringing things in, if you're bringing anything inside your house from outside, you want to treat it with systemic insect granules because you probably have gnats in there or something has laid it in the dirt there. I just had that a lot. Put that down. So you want to throw this on, lightly water it in, go as long as possible between waterings, and it'll just kill anything that's laying in your dirt. You do not want a bunch of gnats around you in the winter trying to control them. It's not fun. The sticky traps kind of work, but they only treat the ones that are flying. You will still have a cycle going through your dirt and stuff if you do not treat the actual problem. So a lot of people try and do sticks, and then they get upset and they throw away their plant. You don't need to do that. You do want to treat fungus gnats because they will eat your root system. They will eventually kill off your plant if you're not careful. So you do want to treat them. Yeah, it's not fun. The last couple things, I'll check my list. I should have brought this up earlier, but if you are planting now, it's a great time to just throw down some root and grow. Anything newly planted, this product's a 2-to-1, very low amount. It's fermented tea. You mix it in water, pour it in your plant, and it just helps it root out a lot faster for next spring. So if you really want to get a root system in there, throw this down, use it every 2 weeks until it's out, or until you see some new growth, and you'll be fine. So it's just the best product. I know a lot of people, they start with this and then think they just want to continually use it because it's a liquid. I get that. But eventually, once your plant is established, you want to move to the 744 all-purpose. You do not want to continue this because it's not strong enough for your stuff. So just newly planted. House plants, this is really great too if you want to do some house plants. It does have a smell, so just use a light amount. The other thing you can do for house plants is the all-purpose. This is like the Schultz. This is just the Fertilome version. So it still works the same way, works great. So those are your fertilizers. The last project, and I'll double check my notes, make sure I got everything. This is just nice to have year round. It's a big bottle, but you can store it and be fine. It's for anything that blooms, anything that blossoms. That's veggies, that's trees, flowers, shrubs, anything that blooms. This will keep it blooming longer, and it will force it to bloom more. It does also have, so it's got a 48 middle number. That's roots and shoots. So it does top and bottom. So if you also want to root out some things like in pots, things like that, this will also help. But use it use it according to directions. It will burn out if you're not careful. So I did that to my lilac. It has taken 3 years to recover. So just don't do that. Just follow directions. I just got a little heavy-handed. So it'll be fine. But it's a great product. If anyone's used this, there's been nothing bad to say. So, right? Yeah, it's just great stuff. Let me check I think that's your list. I know that was really short, but there's not too much to do for fall. You just got to throw it on and get your dirt ready.
Mackenzie, what about watering? I mean,
Good,
I'm
yeah.
still kind of like on a summer schedule.
Yes.
And I know at some point I need to cut that down and then like turn everything off.
Yes. Yes. So that's good. So you're probably keeping your water about the same or a little bit less until end of October, maybe even beginning of November. As soon as we start cooling off, you can shut your system down, but you're not going to stop watering here. So you want to continue to water year-round. Now, you're only watering twice a month. That's December through March. Twice a month is all it needs, but a good soaking at that time. So I know your landscaper is going to say, turn it off, don't ever turn it on again. That maybe involve hand watering, or if you have an in-the-ground system, you can turn it back on. So we have warm days, which is fine. So things do not stay stasis here. Our ground may freeze, but it's only the first foot or so, and then it's warm again. So don't stop watering, but you can definitely cut it down mid to end November, whenever we really start getting cold or have our first frost kind of thing before that.
So when February or March?
Yeah, February, probably March more, but it depends on when we start warming back up. But usually it's March. Yeah, and we have a planting guide, watering guide, and everything down in our store by the cash register. I would suggest you have it. It's just really nice for everything year round. It does established plants, new plants. It just tells you about how much water it needs, because most people do not give it enough, or they do space it out too much. They water every day, or they water every other day. You do not want that here. If you have an established line of anything, once or twice a week is usually fine. Just deep water it. That's shrubs and trees. Do not water more than that. You'll just drought out everything you have, or it won't be enough, and you'll just do light amounts. So deep water.
Keyword is established. When is that?
So usually it's within the next growing season, so within a year. So you plant it now, by next fall it might be ready, but definitely not within next month. But usually a year.
So what about roses?
Roses? So roses still would like it during the winter if you can, twice a month, maybe even just once a month, but they need something. But other than that, once a week, really heavy watering is probably fine for them. They don't need more than that. Nope. Let me get into pruning, because that was another thing too. So nothing really else for roses. You can prune off their dead ends, but just leave them then. I mean, fertilize if you haven't fertilized, but that's all they need. Pruning, a lot of people want to prune everything now. You do not want to do that. You want them to keep their fluff and stuff until next spring. March, end of February, March is the best time to prune. That's anything, roses especially. You can do a light trimming now, but definitely trim them back March. That's when we do our pampas grass or Carl Foresters. Do it then. If you have any flowers now, you can trim those off. Butterfly bush, crepe myrtles. Light trimmings now is fine. Heavy trimmings in the spring. So yeah. Grapes, yeah, don't trim those back till springtime. Let them keep their dead stuff on. They'll be fine. The only thing you do not want to prune now or in the spring is your spring bloomers. So your lilacs, your forsythia, Spanish broom. If you cut them now, you will not have flowers for the springtime. You'll be dead. So you'll just have green. You cut those as soon as they're done blooming. So it's more like the summer, May or something. Irises, cutting back. Probably not until next year, next spring. Yep, which they can usually handle it because their bulb will just kind of go stasis anyways, so it's not a problem, but I might do it more. Yeah. The stalks I might consider cutting. You can wait till it dies out a little bit, because when we get cold, it will go brown. But you want to cut stalks off things. Now is also a great time to plant your bulbs. If you have any bulbs you've been hoarding, you want to plant now, daffodils, things like that, plant them now, and you'll get them next year and stuff. So irises take a little longer to bloom, as you probably know, but they'll bloom within a year or two. They take a little bit. So now it's time to do bulbs. You can cover them if you want, like with that mulch or light layer, and then probably feed them a little bit, but there's nothing else you really need to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Jazz, we were thinking of planting it on our slope. I think we should.
Mm-hmm.
When is the best time? No, the one that it's gonna. We would have it as a ground cover.
Yeah.
When can we plant that?
You can plant now.
Okay.
Now's a great time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best time to plant now if you want the best absolute growth. You don't want to waste a year waiting for things to grow. So, yeah. Let's see, I think that was most of it. Pruning. Yeah, so yeah, just everything I said, get ready for the next year. This is all about getting ready. Now, once your veggies are done, most people want to get ready for their summer veggies. And next, I'll just say this now, next February, you want to start getting your beds ready. That's mulch and manure. You do a mixture, and you let it sit there for 3 to 4 weeks. So you want to get it done early so it feeds your soil, gets it ready for your summer plants. If you're too late in your season, you just have to stick with potting soil because that stuff will burn anything that you plant in it if you do not let it rest. So you can do it now. If you're not planting any fall veggies, you can do it now. But I would do it in February. Throw down those 2 products on your soil. Till it in a little bit. You don't need to replace everything. Just do your top layer and you'll be great.
Okay, you said mulch and feed.
And manure, mulch and manure. Yeah, do a mixture. 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah.
What are fall veggies?
There's like.
Just wiped out all our other stuff.
Yeah. So your fall veggies is mostly your like lettucey type things. So you can do lettuce, spinach, arugula. You can do broccoli, cauliflower, carrots. There's a lot. Beets, kale, things like that. So there's char. There's a ton. You can do a lot.
I have a question about my potatoes. I did the thing, the 100 pound potatoes thing.
Yeah.
It's still a really green plant.
Mhm.
When do I want to harvest that?
Not yet. Probably the end of October, maybe beginning of November. You still got time. Yeah. I was gonna say something else. Veggies. Oh, so your veggies. If you want them to continue through the winter, because they'll be fine through the winter, thin them out as you go. If you like to have them through the entire winter, you want to thin them out so they'll continue to throw up new shoots, new growth, and they'll keep going for you. If you let them go, they'll just choke themselves out eventually, and they won't send out anything more. So just kind of thin them out as you go.
I got an email from Moses Work Center a couple of days ago saying put on plant protection.
Yes, that's that tree and shrub drench. That's that systemic mostly for evergreens. You can definitely do it for your deciduous if you want, but it protects for a year against those borers, bark beetles, stuff like that. So you throw it down now, and you want to throw it, I'll show the camera too, because it's counterintuitive almost. So it's in a blue bottle, gray bottle, blue label. I can show you down there. But you want to pour it right at the base of your tree. Do not do it at the feeder roots. Do not do it a little bit back. You can even pour it on the bark right at the base because it goes up through that cambium layer, up through the tree. So do it now. Now's a great time. You can also do it in the spring if you want, especially for those ponderosas or things that are right near you. I mean, you have a forest of them. If you want to save the ones right near you without having to spray for or pay for a service, it works really great. Just do the ones you want to save because those big guys takes about a whole bottle. It's an ounce per inch of tree trunk diameter. That's how you kind of measure that. But yeah, now's a great time to do that. Anything else? Any other questions? Yeah, if you haven't done it recently, do it now. Don't wait for October. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a sec. Mm-hmm. I would, because they do eventually just start getting that brown center. Just tear it out a little bit, plant a new one kind of nearby, and it'll start filling it out. But there's not much to do to save the center of them. They're just going to do that. Yeah, when they're older and stuff. Yeah. Anyone else questions? Did you have a question?
Back to the plant protection, just for evergreen, deciduous,
Yeah, mostly for evergreens, but it does not hurt the deciduous or fruit trees. You can definitely do it on them. It'll be fine. It can do fruit trees as well, and it will not get into the fruit. It's too big a molecule, so it'll be fine. Yeah.
Moving into our house.
Uh-huh. So November, I would mostly just suggest planting your evergreens or deciding where you want your evergreens. Nothing? So treat your weeds first. We can talk a little bit afterwards because that's more of a bigger project, a bigger conversation, because there's a lot to do. But mostly, I would just take a section of your yard and plant it first. Don't try and do everything at once. It's too overwhelming unless it's a smaller yard. Just pick what you want to do first and work on that. Whether it's border, flowers, evergreens, do that first. No. So now is a great time to plant. You want to plant now so things root out and you can get more growth in the spring. So we're really warm. You have now just like beginning of November. This is the best time to plant, actually. It's better than the spring. Yeah.
Animals eating your drip lines.
That's too bad. They're going for the water and stuff. The ends.
Every other day.
So the only thing you can really do is to kind of do a repellent. We've got some like Momax or stuff like that to try and thin them out to go to somewhere else. Otherwise, you're going to start trapping things and doing that way. So the one drips. I'm not sure why. They're just rude. I don't know because I've never had that this time of year. But yeah, they're just going for things. So either maybe put a tray out somewhere else of water or something. But yeah, there's nothing really to go after them. So just a deterrent.
Put them on a bus in New York.
Yeah, get them somewhere else. Let me just check online, see if they've got some questions. No, we're good. Okay. All right, anything else? I know this was kind of short and I talked fast, apologize, but I'll be up here to answer more questions or anything. I want to say this really quick. If you guys go to the cash register all at once, there will be a line. There's only 3 of us today, so just a little bit of patience here would be great. I appreciate it. You guys are always nice. It's great. But I thought I'd throw that out there. So thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks. You just end this.